money. Chances are, if you clicked on this video, you suck at it. Then again, most of us do. 1 second we have it, and the next it's gone. Spent on things that we don't actually need. But that isn't going to stop us from getting better at it, and finally taking control of our financial futures. Now that I'm nearing my 20s, I figured that I'm slightly less young and dumb than I was in my prior years, so we're going to talk about budgeting. Budgeting is not something that only old people do. In fact, the earlier you do it, the better. It is also not inherently restrictive, but rather a plan for how to allocate and prioritize your resources, in this case, money. If you can realize this earlier, budgeting becomes less of a chore and you'll likely be better off financially in the long term. This can mean the difference between a relaxing retirement and a penny pinching one. So that's enough blabbering by me. Resources like a budgeting template will be in the description below. So drop a like on the video if you find it helpful, and let's get moving along. Step 1. Are you making money? This can be from anything. A part-time job, investments, side hustles, you name it. Estimate how much you're approximately going to make each month. It's okay if you don't make any money right now, because, well, we are students after all, but try to pick up something on the side to make some form of income. Because in the end, we can't really continuously spend money without making any. Math just doesn't check out. And if we're lucky enough to have our parents be paying for our expenses up until now, just know that they can't do that forever, and eventually you'll have to support yourself and possibly support them in return. For me, income comes in the form of investments and miscellaneous referral programs. And a quick tip before we move on to the second step is that you should probably look to put away some money for savings before you actually look to spend it. So moving along. Step 2. How much have you saved? It's good to have a sizable amount of money saved in case of an emergency. This is a must, especially once you're completely independent from your parents, as nobody's ever going to cover your ass from a blown car tire when you're 30. A good 3 to 6 months of expenses saved up in a liquid form, aka cash, will give you a little bit more flexibility to do other things like investing, and go about your day-to-day life as well. Moving along to step 3. How much do you spend? This is something you must look at to ensure that you allocate your money to the most important things first. For example, if you aren't sure how you're going to come up with the money for tuition, then it might not be the greatest idea to eat at a steakhouse all the time. And as for subscriptions or any other expenses that you can live without, you should try to cut those out in favor of items that you actually need to buy, like textbooks and groceries, as opposed to getting a new outfit when you already have like 20. I go into more detail about the types of expenses that you might have in the spreadsheet I have in the description below. That way you'll know how to best spend your money in the future. And last but not least, step number 4. Look at the bottom line. Total your income and expenses to see how much money you have at the end of the month. Ideally, this should be a positive amount. Then you can put some more of that money into savings and investments if you haven't done that already. You should probably be looking to do that first if possible. Unfortunately, most of us will probably have a negative balance because we're students and still dependent on our parents' income. Although most graduating students have a negative net worth, you should at least try to keep this number as close to positive if possible. Anyway, the basics of budgeting are quite simple. The basic principles include looking to save more money out of the amount that you make, minimizing the amount you spend, and prioritizing items that you actually need. Then evaluating the bottom line to see if you need to make any more money by taking on a side hustle, assuming that you've already cut all expenses that are unnecessary. Do keep in mind that even though cutting out all your expenses that are unnecessary may seem a bit extreme, it just goes on a case-to-case basis. Because I know that having a budget that is too restrictive can have pretty negative impacts on your quality of life, so I'm not telling you to be a cheapskate and wear rags and wash your face with like rainwater or something, because that's a little bit too extreme. But each case calls for a different degree of strictness on the budget. So if you are looking to reach your financial goals, then you'll probably be looking to be a little bit more strict while keeping your quality of life to what you would expect from a first world country. Anyway, that's about it for this video. Make sure to smash that like button and share with a friend that you think will need to see this. And yeah, subscribe with post notifications on so you can see more videos from me, and that's it. See ya.